What's good? What's good? Welcome. It's Tuesdays with Tawana. And my special guest, I affectionately call him Dink, but how would you like to be referred to today on this?
Either Dink or Ethan, doesn't matter.
Okay, he's so sweet. He's so sweet. So, what's good is Tuesdays with Tawana, a place where we build community one episode at a time. I am Dr. Tad, your host and your curator, and I'm so grateful to be here on another Tuesday. And I am even more grateful because I have the opportunity to share this experience with my grandson, um, who has been traveling with me this week. And I'm going to open up the space for him to have a conversation and talk about this experience for himself. Hey, Mother Carolyn. Let me see, Mother Carolyn say hello, family.
Hey, Mother Carolyn.
So, for those of you who are watching for the first time, you can enter your comments, questions, concerns in the comment area, and I will insert them into this narrative because it's not just about the two of us talking for the next half an hour, but it is about building community and hearing your voice. I do apologize for my lateness. Today is a very busy day, and I just refused to postpone or cancel today's TWT. So that's how excited I am. And there are times when there is a different background, so you know that I'm in a different space, in a different place. So we are in coming to you live from Denver, Colorado, the place that we called home for several years. And we are here taking care of business. Just know that in this moment, this is a Dr. Tad Enterprise production, but you'll hear me mention other organizations. I mention them with love, and they're not necessarily affiliated with my views and my comments, but at the same time, I love to uplift what other people are doing in community. So, yeah, I think that's all of our uh, PSAs for today. So this week we are calling this episode a Womanist Week in Review. We just completed those who are Christians or follow Christianity, followers of the way. We just came out of Holy Week. We are still in the sacred space of Ramadan, and we are still, somebody correct me if we're still in Passover or if Passover has completed as well. But it was the trifecta, the holy trifecta. So, in any which way or form, there was an opportunity to create a sacred space for us to be, to lament, to release, to forgive, to insert joy, to love one another, to honor the God in us, the God around us, our creator and our sustainer. So, so grateful for this holy time, and particularly grateful for this holy time because I get to spend time with Dink, who is very special to me and got to experience Mima on a different level. So before I, have a dialogue with Dink, I want to share some things why I decided to call this a Womanist Week in Review. So as a womanist, that's how I choose to identify and choose to show up in this world, because womanism is it's a way of being. It's a way of it's an experience. I can throw all of these terms at you. To me, it's an ontology, and it's an epistemology, and it's a way of being, and it's an identity, and it's a way of, behaving or showing up, and it's full of joy and realism and accountability and community building. And it's not just about Black women, but it is about Black women and building community at the same time. So, according to Alice Walker, who coined the frame womanism, anyone can be a womanist as long as you are approaching womanism or identifying with womanism in a liberating stance that centers Black women and Black experiences for the liberation of all. Hey, Jules. Yep, you always come through. Passover ends tomorrow evening at sundown. Yes. So, just reveling in this holy time, which should be all the time, but that's for another broadcast. But we do set aside time to be very intentional about what we do and how we center ourselves. And during our prayer time and meditation and family, whether it's by blood or otherwise, and community, especially during these trying times, what just happened in Louisville, what's happening in Tennessee, and of course the list goes on and on. A brother who was released from jail when after 30 years in prison for a crime that he didn't commit, now they want him to go back to jail to serve a sentence that he never should have served from the beginning. So we have a lot going on in this world, and today I really want to uplift our young people and insert this young man's voice into this narrative as we spend the rest of our time together. So, one final thing. My son Eric is in Dubai, and I had an opportunity to go see him, and I mentioned in a previous broadcast that it was the first time, or one of the few times, that I actually felt safe and at peace in a communal setting, like outside in the world. Jules said, "Hi, Dink, welcome."
Hello.
So as most of you know, Ethan, see, I do this all the time, Ethan and Eric. Eric blew his Achilles. He had surgery. It was successful. I went to see him. He was great. And just recently, he listened to his body. He paid attention to his body. And making a long story short, because there is a praise report, he had a blood clot in his lung. So he was in the hospital for a few days. It was quite scary. We're faithful, and healing shows up in different ways and different experiences, and manifests in different ways. And so it was a concern, and I had a chance I love FaceTime. That's when technology is technologying. I made up a word, but when it's working. But he's home now. He spent several days, maybe 3 or 4 days in the hospital. He's doing much better. He's home. So I think those who knew, some of those things are hard to post. You want community to know, but then it's hard to, shock people with a post like that, because when you hear about blood clots, just like when you hear about cancer and other things, your mind sometimes defaults to the worst. So we're grateful for the prayers and the loving energy and the healing energy that was sent. Please continue to pray for him, because his healing journey will be a while. He, will not be able to go back to work for a minute. But just to show you how loving my sunshine is, his head of school sent him a message, I want you to get better. That's the most important thing. And we miss your leadership and your jovial spirit. So we need you back. But take care of you so you can come back to us. So that just goes to show how loved he is. And he has a great village out there. So yes, let's keep speaking Eric's name and speaking healing and wholeness. Yeah, speaking healing and wholeness. So let's get started. Let's hear from Dink. Hey, Dr. Rose. Yes, praising God for Eric's health and recovery. Oh, what your mother talking about? I told you we all gonna move to Dubai. So my daughter's on. This is just a family affair. I love it. So I invited Dink to this episode one because he's a beautiful young black man, 13 years old, about to go to high school, and he's witty, he's funny, he's loving, and he's 13. Let me, and he's 13. So I wanted him to share his experience with me over the last few days, especially from a womanist stance, because this is what womanism is about lifting as we climb. And it's important that we include our young people in that approach, lifting as we climb. So, Ethan, you can share what you want to introduce yourself, or we can start talking about your experience in traveling with Mima and watching me work and sharing some of the beautiful things you said to me while we were traveling.
I mean, we can just start talking about it now.
Okay, well, make sure you speak up because we're recording and you want people to hear your beautiful voice. Hey, Falami, what's going on? Yes, it's good to see Dink live and in person. So many people were approaching him and they were like, "I know you. I see you on your mother's Facebook page all the time." So it's good to see you in person. And you'll see I always read the comments to insert all voices into this narrative. Mother Carolyn said, "I love that you're giving him the space and the place to speak." Yes. So tell me about your experience. We've been to San Francisco, Denver. Yeah, let's talk about it.
San Francisco was pretty fun. Um, as a moment that I definitely want to remember was the photo shoot. It was just a nice experience just to be at. Um, the people treated me nice, and it just looked just like a fun place to be. Mima is very busy though. She just has to go everywhere. Everyone knows her. She's just a very busy person. The photo shoot took forever. It took like an hour and 30 to 2 hours. So I was sitting there. I wasn't really bored 'cause I was playing basketball, but it was just a long time. But yeah, it's pretty fun to just see her. Just that's what she have to do. And for Denver, uh, Denver has been pretty on and off busy. I can't remember everything that we done, but today is apparently a busy day because she has to do a lot of. Is it a presentation that she got to do today? It's a presentation and a couple meetings that she has to do. But yeah, she's a very busy just woman, like I said, and she has to just travel everywhere just to just that's what she has to do. And yeah.
And why is that important to mention? Like, well, why was it important to you? We've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
So, why was that experience important to you? And what were some of the things you said, about me um, in the work that I do? So,
Also, for example, yesterday at the hotel, I stayed in the car, but me and mom went inside a hotel, and then so she had like a reservation booked for the hotel, but she wasn't using it for the night, so she gave it to a couple that was like I don't know what happened exactly, but like their room was something was happening with it, so she just gave the room to them, and I said good person, me mom.
well, thank you, Dink. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. So, why is it important for you as a young black man to have these types of experiences?
So I could just experience things. So I could experience like traveling, just places that I want to go, like different type of work, like different type of jobs I might be interested to. Basically, just gives me like a whole like variety of what I want to like do if I just change my dreams or anything. Just yeah,
It exposes you to
yeah,
different opportunities that you may not have had staying in one place.
yeah.
Okay. What was your experience watching a black woman and black women lead. Like you came to the service, Women at the Cross, it was all black women preaching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we went to church on Sunday, the pastor talked about, black women and how we should revere black women. So, what is your thoughts on
Uh,
that?
it was cool. It was like kind of enjoying to watch. Let's just see everyone just gather and then just do their own thing. It was pretty fun. And it's also just like inspiring. Just everyone could do what they want to. Just everyone could just. It doesn't matter what you are. You could just do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and you have an amazing mom, an amazing mom who's a scholar. She's an amazing gifted teacher. Uh, she's a wonderful mother and an amazing daughter. So you've seen black women in leadership and in action.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that inspire you as a young black man?
It inspires me because that I know that I'm like not the only one exactly, and then I know that like I guess I had like more support instead of just me being by myself. I had like a support system that could just help me what I'm doing instead of just me just struggling by myself.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, last week was Holy Week, and I did notice a lot, it from my experience and who I listen to, a lot of people were mentioning the women, and inserted the women into the preaching moment, into their narrative. And it caused me to think about how we grow and how we change. And change is good. Change can be good. When we learn more, right? They say when we know better, we do better, or we should do better. So we're learning more about the scriptures, and how oftentimes uh, there are texts that are from the colonizer's voice, and now we are inserting our narrative into what is not being said or what was omitted from the text, and being able to highlight that to parallel what's happening today. For instance, the women at the cross who stayed at the foot of the cross, while the disciples, who in the scriptures say were all men, but we know in deeper research that it was men and women, but that's for another conversation. And how the men were like, I didn't know him. I, denied him 3 times, and betrayed him, and so on and so forth. But the women were at the cross. The women were there when he was taken down. The women were there to do ritual. The women were there at the tomb. And in the past, we haven't heard much of that. I'm boring Ethan right
No,
now.
I'm very tired off of
I
just all the flights. I'm sorry. I'm very tired. Even how much I've been sleeping, I'm still very tired.
we are pretty jet lagged. Yes. So what I noticed, that a lot of the preachers are now digging deep into themselves and their experiences, and how the women at the cross had to watch, Jesus die. Mary had to watch her son die, just as women today, or parents or guardians or caregivers, are watching their children and beloveds die through heinous killings, whether it's violence in the street, police brutality, the mass shootings that are happening. We are witnessing that. And what is, whether you identify as Christian or not, what are we called to do? Right? How are we called to respond to these heinous acts? And this is not new to us. These heinous acts have happened from the time we were taken from our homeland and our shores, brought to these shores, and dehumanized, and just a myriad of stuff that happened to us. And we're still experiencing that today. And it seems as if we continue to have to fight this fight, like the two Justins who were expelled. And I think, I'm not sure if both were reinstated. I know one Justin was, the other one, they were voting on it. So if somebody knows, just pop it in the chat. But how the white woman who, ally on the front lines protesting was not expelled. So just dealing with those dynamics. So when I talk about Dubai and how I felt safe and how I felt at peace, because I realized that when I'm driving down the road in any city that I'm in, I see a police car, my anxiety goes up. Or if I am walking into a supermarket now. I mean, it's so much that we have to deal with and contend with, or when we're sending our children to school, or when our children are teaching in these schools, we don't know what's going to happen. And we got to watch and pray, right? So we got to put feet to these prayers. And so, having Dink with me is so important so that he can hear the language. He can see the leadership and the divine prowess that is happening as I am working or moving and shaking and navigating in this space. Dink is able to witness that firsthand. He is able to feel something, or at least create an opportunity for him to feel something, so that when he is leading in a certain endeavor or learning to love himself and take care of himself, he has an example. He doesn't have to. Lucille Clifton, put it perfectly when she said, I'm born of Babylon. I had no example. I had nothing to show me the way. I am non-white. This list of things that she didn't have, but yet at the end still gave us hope by saying, won't you celebrate with me in the midst of it all, that something has every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. That is the womanist way. Womanists will center ourselves without decentering others. And we'll say, hey, you can come along. We're creating space for you to come along with us so that we all can be liberated. So white people can be liberated from their shame and denial of what has happened, or white supremacists, or those who ascribe to white power, or Christian supremacy, because it's not all white people, right? We don't talk in blanket statements, or all black people act this way, or all white people respond this way. And it's those that are in this false sense of power that are now living in shame and want to erase history, not because it's not true, but because of their own trauma. We talk about our trauma, right? But why don't we talk about white trauma? I mean, they should talk about it. We got our own healing to do in community, right? So like with Soul to Soul Sisters, with Facing Racism, we create a space for people to reconcile their own stuff, and then to be able to go out and to be allies and comrades and co-conspirators in this liberation work. They now have the language for it. There is a brother, I can't think of his name. I watched a webinar about language justice, watching what we say and how we say it and who are we saying it to, and still showing up authentically without moving us into this colonized language. So if I say I ain't doing that, don't correct me. You know what I mean? When you correct me, you are inserting your power and your narrative into this space. Courtney said, hey, Ethan.
Hello.
What's up, my little buttercup Courtney? Brother Gregory is on. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Elaine. Oh, wait, I'm missing a few people. Hey, Pam. Yes, exposure and experience are the best forms of modeling that we can give our children. Absolutely, beloved. Hey, Elaine. What's good? Brother Gregory says positive influence and experiences are great for everyone, especially young people. What a blessing that he can glean from his Meemaw. Thank you so much, Brother Gregory. And you know what? I learned a lot from you and from Miss Rochelle. You know, just your leadership and working with young people and the support that Miss Rochelle, she's been working with young people well before I knew her 13 years ago. And then, you know, raising our grandchildren with similar approaches and similar teachings and joy and love. So absolutely, it is so important. So when we talk about building community and building relationships, it is important that we do center those who are usually silenced, those who are historically marginalized, those who are historically oppressed, and we insert ourselves into those narratives. And you know what? When we insert ourselves into those narratives, the result may not be what we had anticipated, because we really can't anticipate the outcome, because then we won't do what it is that we need to do because we're fearful of the outcome. So we don't know what we don't know. So we got to step out on faith, speak truth to power, be authentic, show up in who we are, ask questions, be open to learn, be open to honor and respect and love yourself, where you're from, who you are, how you identify, and then being able to use your power, your divine power, to then shift the narrative in the atmosphere so that people will then begin to see you and to love you for who you are. That is the womanist way. And when we embark on Holy Week and during holy times, it is a time for us to come together and to honor one another, and not to berate or degrade or demean each other, but to welcome us in and to name the thing, that thing. We need to accept and to be able to hold people accountable in love, using powerful words, speaking truth to power, but speaking in a way that is going to uplift us all. That's going to uplift us and set the example for our young people, so that our young people can live out their dreams and they can be, you know, the answers to their ancestors' dreams, and they can be the answer and the response to their parents and their grandparents or their caregivers or whoever were the ones who were, you know, leading and guiding and caring for them. They can then bring all of that into fruition for themselves, and it'll keep going and keep getting better and better as we move forward. So as we begin to close our time, hey, Miss Odessa, yeah, you see your Dink? You knew Dink since he was an infant in Atlanta. Miss Odessa went to Antioch, or goes to Antioch, and so she knew you. You don't even remember when she was, yeah, you were little. So you have any closing words for us?
No, just thank you for having me.
Oh, he's so cute. So cute. So my charge for today, you know, one, continue to learn about womanism. I offer an opportunity for you to continue to learn how to center yourself, Black beloved, without shame, without guilt, without feeling like you have to placate to someone else's false sense of power, or, you know, and if we come together, whether it's in, you know, policy making, or if it's protesting, or it's running for office, or it's speaking up when things are going awry at school, or whatever it may be, you show up authentically and unapologetically Black, so that we can lift as we climb and bring other people along, particularly in the BIPOC community. And I love what Brother H. Soul says. He says, people of culture, not necessarily people of color, people of culture. And we as Black people, our culture and our language has been stripped away, and we've been rebuilding it, rebuilding a stance of community and love and support and honoring and acknowledgement and identifying our own divinity. Identifying how beautifully and wonderfully and fearfully made we are in the image of the Most High. So that's our time. I want to thank Dink as our special guest for today. I want to thank you for, you know, just for being here and for supporting me and rocking with me on Tuesdays. And I look forward to seeing you on next Tuesday. And Eric would say, Inshallah, which is God willing. So enjoy your day today. Be blessed, be protected. Continue to pour in love into yourself so that you can give love to others, because we can't pour from an empty cup and we can't give what we don't have. I see you. I love you. I honor you. And I will see you next week. We out.
See you. Bye.